I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Jasmine Burdett, and I'm an outreach officer for the Green Municipal Fund at the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. Today's webinar is the last of 5 days of interactive webinars covering the many ways in which we, the Green Municipal Fund, can help you plan, design, and implement local sustainability projects. Today, we will be focusing on our new $300 million community efficiency financing initiative, and you'll learn how this program of programs can help your residents improve the energy performance of their homes. So if you have colleagues who are missing today's webinar, don't worry, the session is being recorded and will be posted online in a few weeks. So before learning more on how to create an efficiency financing program for your community, just a quick reminder to please send us your questions through the questions or chat function, and we will respond to these at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, let me introduce today's speakers, my colleagues Marco Iacampo and Jim Wren. Marco is the Senior Design Specialist for the SEF Initiative, and Jim is an Outreach Advisor for the FCM programs. So Marco and Jim, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you very much for the introduction, Jasmine. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the webinar brought to you by the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. Specifically, the topic is how to create an efficiency financing program for your community. I do want to point out the top right-hand corner of your screen. You will see an emblem showing that the Green Municipal Fund is celebrating 20 years of delivering amazing municipal projects through funding and financing. So the Federation of Canadian Municipalities is the national voice for Canada's local governments since 1901. We, at any given time, we represent up to 2,000 municipalities, which represents up to 91% of the Canadian population. The overall goal is truly to deliver better lives to Canadians, and we achieve this by concentrating on the outcomes of municipal projects and programs. FCM's Green Municipal Fund supports innovative municipal sustainability projects through the following funding streams: energy, waste, water, transportation, and brownfields. And you'll note on this slide that we're adding 3 very important new programs. And this was brought to you through the federal budget of 2019 and a new investment in the Green Municipal Fund to drive cost-saving energy efficiency in communities across Canada. Obviously, today we're concentrating on the community efficiency financing. We also are delivering the sustainable affordable housing, and the purpose of the sustainable affordable housing program is really to drive down emissions through the affordable housing sector, which is quite important and has large social benefits, of course. We also have the LC3 FCM partnership between FCM and 7 urban climate centers, including the Vancouver region, Edmonton, Calgary, the Greater Toronto, Hamilton area, Ottawa, Montreal area, and the Halifax region. Today's webinar objectives are to discover different models of efficiency financing, learn what types of studies and capital programs are available, and identify next steps that you can take to support a new or existing financing program in your community. So as Jasmine mentioned, she really introduced Marco and myself, and Marco is situated in the city of Toronto currently, and myself, I'm here at the city of Ottawa. And we have a couple polling questions for you right now. So we'll take some time to complete these questions.
So you'll see on the right-hand side, there's the poll questions on your screen. So today, the first question is, where are you joining us this webinar from today? Is it the North, the West Coast, the Prairies, Central Canada, or Atlantic Canada? So I see we're starting to get your questions in. We'll just wait a few more minutes. All right, so it looks like there are people from a little bit all over. 15% are from the West Coast, 27% are from the prairies, 45% are from Central Canada, and then 13% are from Atlantic Canada today. So welcome. All right, and the next question is, what type of organization do you work for? Is it a municipality, a nonprofit organization, the private sector, a federal or provincial territorial government, or other? All right, so it looks like a majority of you are from a municipal government, but we have others joining us from nonprofit organizations, the private sector, federal, provincial, or territorial government, and then there are others who don't quite fit in those categories. Thanks everyone who voted during the poll. Moving on to the next question. Is your municipality or organization considering a financing program for home energy upgrades? So please select one of the following options. It's not currently on our radar. We have a council support to start exploring a program. We're currently studying or designing a program, where we're already running or participating in a program, or it's not applicable at this time. All right, so it looks like 18% have said that it's not currently on their radar. Some of you are a little bit further along. You have council support to start exploring a program or are currently designing a program. 8% of you are already running or participating in a program, which is very interesting. And 27, so about a third of you are chose the not applicable option. Okay, well, thank you everyone who participated in the poll.
Great, thank you, Jasmine, and thanks again, everyone, for participating in our polling questions today. So the home energy upgrade opportunity, so one would be to obviously decrease energy use within the housing stock of Canadians. With that, of course, we're looking to decrease greenhouse gases and as well as carbon. The second one is to really decrease the cost on their utility bills. And at this point now, we'll listen to Marco as he digs deeper within the community efficiency financing program delivered by FCM through the Green Municipal Fund.
Hi, everyone. So when we talk of efficiency financing, in the Canadian context, this is very much an emerging or nascent field. It's about creating new financial products to help homeowners undertake energy upgrades. These could be things like energy efficiency or renewable energy to improve the performance, comfort, and affordability of their homes. So this sort of breaks down into sort of two categories. One is rebates and incentives, where a program administrator, perhaps a municipality or utility, directly incentivizes a certain technology or performance standard, let's say, for a home retrofit. So that's very much, transactional, where a rebate is provided should you install a high efficiency furnace, for example. Financing, though, is a little bit different, whereby a program administrator is providing a financial product, usually in the form of a loan, where the costs, up to 100% of the cost for home energy upgrades are to be repaid through some repayment mechanism. And I'll be able to explain that a little further in my presentation. So I think it's, overall, I think there's a pretty good understanding, I would say, within the sector for, the benefits of home upgrade financing programs. There's a lot of value to homeowners in terms of streamlined access to financing. A lot of these programs have sort of this concierge service or one-stop shop that helps you navigate the upgrade process and increase a homeowner's confidence in the ensuing results from improved energy performance. And then, a more comfortable, healthier, and affordable homes is of value to homeowners. It addresses climate action and economic recovery priorities of municipalities related to achieving community energy and greenhouse gas emission reduction priorities and driving investment in the local economy, which is certainly a priority as we enter COVID recovery phase. And also it allows for community investment in climate adaptation and other community and priorities which may relate to water conservation, health, safety, and accessibility. So there are a variety of financing models that can be used to support home energy upgrades, and the main ones break out into three categories. The first is property assessed clean energy, which I'd say is probably the most popular right now across Canada. PACE program uses a municipality's local improvement charge mechanism for loan repayment. Under this program, a homeowner would hire a contractor to upgrade their home, and the cost of the upgrades is financed through a special assessment on the property tax bill. The charge can then be transferred to a subsequent homeowner at time of sale. Toronto's Home Energy Loan Program, Halifax's Solar City program, and Clean Foundations program in Nova Scotia are examples of the PACE model. On-bill financing is the second option, and it allows the cost of home energy upgrades to be repaid via homeowner's utility bill. This type of program requires the close participation and partnership with a utility company. The charge can be structured so that the annual energy cost savings cover the cost for the upgrade. And often this can be done in such a way that it is cash neutral in terms of monthly cash flow from the homeowner perspective. This type of financing can also be transferable at time of sale. Manitoba Hydro's PAYS program and the City of Nelson, BC's EcoSave program are two good examples of utility on-bill financing in Canada. The last category is direct lending, which can take, I'd say many forms, and it occurs when a municipality is working with perhaps a credit union or a financial institution to offer a financial product customized for home energy upgrades. With the support of the Green Municipal Fund, municipalities can de-risk a third-party lender's investment in a community program in exchange for attractive rates, longer repayment terms, and a convenient homeowner experience. The Clean BC Better Homes low interest financing program for heat pumps is an example of a direct lending program. A lot of people may be familiar with the Halifax Solar City program. For those who are not, in 2013, Halifax was the first municipality in Canada to use the PACE model. The municipality launched the Solar City pilot program to finance solar hot water system for eligible private residences in order to meet the objectives of its municipal plan, including community energy plan, economic strategy, and regional planning. In 2016, a revised version of the program was launched and expanded to include solar PV and solar hot air technologies. The expanded program is also open to other types of participants, including the not-for-profit, places of worship, co-ops, and charities across the municipality. Solar City provides financing at a fixed interest rate to be repaid over a 10-year period. Financing is attached to the property, not to the property owner, and the repayment is a separate charge on the tax bill. Between 2013 and 2019, more than 620 property owners financed about 13 million in projects through this program. In 2018, there was an increase in program participation with the advent of new provincial rebates for solar PV systems in Nova Scotia and the integration of those incentives into the local program. The program is designed to be revenue neutral, with the interest rate that's charged to homeowners helps to recover some of the municipalities' costs related to program administration. Next example is Nelson's EcoSave program. Nelson's designed a simplified process to help residents determine what energy efficiency upgrades can be done to reduce energy consumption and lower greenhouse gas emissions in their homes and businesses, and to access current rebate offers. EcoSave is available to homeowners and businesses in the Nelson Hydro Service area. Participants receive a rebate for home energy evaluations and customized retrofit plans from a certified energy advisor. Participants can then access a loan of up to $16,000 at a 3.5% fixed interest rate, with a choice of a 5 or 10-year payment term, to undertake eligible energy efficiency and water conservation upgrades. The loan is then repaid through fixed installments on the resident's utility bill. The EcoSave program has been successful in advancing strategies related to Nelson's low carbon path to 2040, its climate action plan, and community energy plans as well. And part of the success involved the program being expanded to include coverage across the entire regional district of Central Kootenay. So when municipalities start considering the types of financing offers to potentially offer within their community, the models that you'll look at, there's applicability depending on the local context, and it depends on a range of factors, including the role that your municipality wants to play, how engaged you want to be as a program administrator, potential delivery partners within your region, and it also depends largely on the provincial, territorial, legislative context. To undertake, for instance, PACE or LIC financing, the province or territory that you reside in must have adopted legislation that enables municipalities to impose local improvement charges onto participating properties for the renewable energy and energy efficiency upgrades. This enabling legislation has been adopted, PACE enabling legislation has been adopted in the Yukon, Alberta, Ontario, Nova Scotia, and it's coming into force in Saskatchewan in 2021. The map on the left also highlights Quebec, where a PACE-like program has been piloted to demonstrate a working model in the absence of clear enabling legislation. Now, municipalities without PACE enabling legislation should not despair, because they can undertake other types of financing programs, including partnering with a local utility for on-bill financing or with a financial institution for direct lending. The map on the right shows provinces where on-bill programs are currently running or have existed in the past. Utilities must also have the authority to, usually through provincial territorial legislation, to permit these types of programs. So community efficiency financing is a new initiative of the Green Municipal Fund, and its aim is to encourage municipal action to accelerate energy efficiency and renewable energy investments in the low-rise residential sector by using some of these innovative financing models that I've discussed. We heard Jasmine refer to CEF as being a program of programs, in that it supports municipalities to establish or expand their own local financing programs, who in turn support homeowners in making these energy improvements to their homes. So GMF does not directly engage at the individual homeowner level, rather we do so through community programs. Our funding offer is around $55 million annually, split pretty much evenly between capital in the form of loans and loan guarantees, which I'll explain a bit more shortly, as well as $30 million in grants. The funding offer is also combined with capacity building activities and resources to help raise awareness for the benefits of innovative financing programs and supporting municipalities and their sustainability and climate action goals. And it's really meant to design partners and communities, depending on where they're at in terms of their readiness as far as planning, designing, and delivering a local efficiency financing program. So consistent with the overarching goals of the Green Municipal Fund, Community Efficiency Financing, or CEF, prioritizes energy efficiency and renewable energy improvements as drivers for greenhouse gas reductions across Canada. The two primary objectives of the program are to generate triple bottom line benefits, so being able to really generate quantifiable energy savings and greenhouse gas emission reductions, in addition to the environmental, economic, and social benefits that I touched upon earlier. We're also looking to drive market transformation. As mentioned, energy efficiency financing is a relatively new practice in Canada, and we want to position the municipal sector and their partners to reach a point where we're successfully introducing, converging on, and scaling up these financing models for residential energy projects across Canada. We want to transform this market by creating tools and experience that provide proof of concept for the best models, which can be replicated and adapted to the local context. And ultimately, we want to be able to build confidence with investors and, pension funds and other financial institutions to be able to draw in private capital and encourage more financing offers, because we know that the scale of investment needed within the housing stock across Canada is massive, and we know that we can't do this all on the backs of property taxpayers or the Green Municipal Fund for that matter. So really trying to get the right models out within the community, get the proof of concepts, and be able to draw in private capital. So as far as CEF's eligibility and focus is concerned, the program really targets energy upgrades in low-rise existing residential buildings. So what we're talking about here are detached, semi-detached homes, duplexes, row housing, which are all within scope for this program. There's two primary financing models that GMF supports. One is PACE, which I've described earlier, as well as third-party lending, where in jurisdictions where PACE is not available or a municipality wants to play more of a limited role in terms of program delivery. In terms of the eligible measures category, energy efficiency improvements like insulation, heating and cooling systems, windows, doors are supported. Renewable energy installations are also supported, like solar rooftop PV. Now, I want to stress that GMF is really encouraging a bottom-up program design where we are allowing municipalities sort of considerable freedom in identifying, the individual improvements that fall within the energy efficiency, renewable energy categories. So we're not being overly prescriptive as far as measures go. Another neat feature of the program is that on a limited basis, we also support non-energy improvements. So while you may be introducing an energy program, there's also flexibility to bring in water conservation, basement floodproofing, or other climate adaptation measures, health and safety, things like mold remediation or upgrading, electrical panels to code. These are additional measures that can be supported through this program, and GMF can provide funding to support the non-energy improvements also. And lastly, just one last point on that slide there, Jim. And then lastly, the EnerGuide home rating system is required. For those unfamiliar, EnerGuide is Canada's sort of national home rating system that's supported by Natural Resources Canada. Pre and post assessments of home energy performance is provided as a way to standardize data collection and reporting through our program. And it's widely adopted, I'd say, across Canada, the EnerGuide rating system, and it's sort of the data backbone that underpins CEF. So with respect to the EnerGuide rating system, it's important for communities to understand the local capacity to undertake home energy assessments and the resulting energy upgrades. So this map gives you a sense of the number of energy advisors that are licensed to use EnerCan's EnerGuide rating system across Canada. So as you can see, there's some jurisdictions where there's fairly low capacity, others where there's a lot more. I think we generally see the trend where there's higher capacity in urban centers. So it's really important to consider energy advisors and contractor capacity and potential workforce training needs when considering the design of a local financing program. As far as applicant eligibility is concerned, there's two types of applicants who are eligible to GMF. There's the municipal governments in Canada, as well as municipal partners who apply in partnership with a municipal government. This includes municipally owned corporations, nonprofit organizations, or private sector entities. Homeowners are specifically excluded from applying directly to Green Municipal Fund, albeit they are the direct beneficiaries of CEF-supported community programs. Provincial, territorial, or federal governments and any corporations they own or control are not eligible to apply. However, they may ultimately be involved in program delivery and could be paid by eligible applicants to undertake work related to program delivery or design. So as far as the CEF funding offer is concerned, we support three things. Studies are eligible for a grant of up to $175,000, covering up to 80% of eligible costs. And I'll describe our study stream. And it's actually a really exciting time for us at the Green Municipal Fund, as tomorrow we will be launching our studies stream. We also support capital programs where there's two funding options depending on the delivery model. So through CEF, we can provide an eligible recipient up to $10 million in a loan, with up to 50% of that amount in the form of a grant to support program startup and operations. So we can capitalize through a local program through a loan. And then there's a new option that's being offered. This is the first time that the Green Municipal Fund is providing loan guarantees, which is a credit enhancement to de-risk, third-party money that may be brought into a local community. So for those, communities who are not interested in accessing a loan from the Green Municipal Fund, or who have their own municipal capital, or maybe an interested credit union who wants to be a part of a program, GMF can pledge a loan guarantee to cover any losses that might be experienced by that local program. Loan guarantees are also eligible for up to $5 million in grants to support operating costs. So as mentioned, we're taking a multi-phase rollout of community efficiency financing, and there's several opportunities to apply depending on your community's readiness. We're about to close our first call for applications, which we launched on March 31st, which was really tailored to municipalities who were at, I'd say, an advanced stage of readiness, who were looking to capitalize a new program or scale up an existing financing program, and who had all of the pieces in place to do just that. Our next targeted call for applications, which opens tomorrow, is for communities who want to assess the feasibility of a financing program or undertake detailed program design work or refinement of an existing program. And then in January 2021, we will be launching a continuous intake program for funding applications. So we'll be funding studies, capital programs, and loan guarantees on an ongoing basis. So for those applicants who are looking to capitalize a program and are looking for a GMF loan or loan guarantee, the next opportunity to apply for that will be in January 2021. One of the awesome parts of our program design is that a lot of effort and thought has gone into the capacity needs of the municipal sector, and we're going to also be launching some knowledge products to provide guidance to the sector in sort of understanding, what are the main steps from, ideation to design to launch to capitalization and ultimate recapitalization and scale up of a program. So we've identified that there's 12 stages of program design and delivery, and really the goal of CEF funding and our capacity building support is for municipalities and their partners through basically all stages. The first 6 stages represent the key milestones in program design, and these activities would be supported by funding for feasibility studies and program design studies, which I'm going to elaborate on in a minute. The next 6 stages, or 5 stages rather, represent sort of the point from program launch and onward. So that's, how to operate and launch, operate, and scale up a program. And CEF offers funding for initial program launch and ongoing operations, for studies to evaluate the impact of existing programs and how they can be improved, and also to recapitalize programs that are poised for greater impact. Actually, Jim, I think we're one slide. You can advance one more slide. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to give an overview of the types of studies that are eligible for funding. And again, this funding will be launched and made available to the sector as of tomorrow. So everyone's getting sort of a sneak peek today into our studies, our grant study stream. So CEF supports feasibility studies, which is really the first stage and involves collecting data on your community's needs, the potential impact of a home upgrade financing program, and the financing options that might be available. To ensure alignment with your community priorities, we ask for a copy of a community energy plan, sustainability plan, or climate action plan that targets energy improvements in the residential sector as a priority area for action, and that this has been approved by your municipal government's council. Some of the key topics to address in a feasibility study include the types of homes in your communities, their GHG and energy profiles, potential local benefits that could be achieved through these upgrades, homeowner benefits from a financing program and the specific barriers that you're looking to address, the existing sort of energy efficiency ecosystem, the types of incentives that are maybe offered by your utilities, understanding the landscape, and what are the financing models given the context of municipal law, as well as an initial engagement with potential program partners. Now, some of this information may already exist in your energy plan or climate action plan. Municipal staff time is an eligible cost to undertake a study, so this type of study can be done in-house. It doesn't need to be undertaken by an external consultant. And like all grants, for the study stream, $175,000 is available per study, up to 80% of eligible costs. So after municipalities, undertaken a feasibility study and they've, now decided that, yes, we want to proceed in taking the next step, that's where our design studies step in. And you can apply funding to undertake detailed program design. So this involves thinking through all of the, nitty-gritty details of a home upgrade financing program to get it ready for launch. This work also sets the program bylaw, sort of provides like the precursor to a program bylaw, which is often required by provincial territorial legislation to permit the introduction of a new program. Some of the key components of a design study include understanding your target audience, including eligible participants and the types of upgrades you will be supporting, funding sources and budgets, both for startup and ongoing operations. There's often a recommendation for the funding model and the associated terms and conditions, all the activities related to program delivery, documentation associated with program startup and admin, like an implementation plan, understanding roles and responsibilities of the different partners who will be involved in your program, and legal and risk issues ranging from contracting to procurement and risk management. Now, a detailed program design is a prerequisite to apply for the next stage of GMF funding, which is our capital program offer that I had described. So, for those looking to, access that $10 million loan or loan guarantee in January 2021, I would encourage you, and you've completed some preliminary feasibility work. The design study is really tailored for you to set you up for program capitalization in the new year. The third study is for program evaluation. So this really applies to those who have existing programs and who have, documented at least a year's worth of data to be able to assess impact and opportunities to scale up. The key components for this evaluation study include understanding program impact. So basically comparing, your results against your plan that you initially set at the onset, understanding and reviewing the program processes to see how effective they are and where are the opportunities for improvement. And often these evaluation studies will provide recommended strategies for increasing uptake, investment, and the scaling of the environmental and energy performance impacts. It could also recommend discontinuing the program should it not be the right fit or if the program has run its course. Back over to you, Jim.
Okay, great. Thank you, Marco. So how to apply? I mean, the first stage is to review the application guide and initial proposal form, which will be available. We're launching the studies, as Marco mentioned, tomorrow. Stage 2 is to, obviously complete the initial proposal form and submit it to FCM, and then applicants will receive a response within 15 business days. And stage 3 is the eligible applicants will be invited to submit a full application on or before October 30th, 2020. Support for funding recipients. Of course, you can access our technical coaching, join a community of practice through our capacity building initiatives. Be prepared to access the capital program funding brought to you in 2021, as Marco mentioned previous, and truly receive a national profile for your work, for example, Sustainable Communities Awards. So now we have another polling question, and Jasmine will help guide us through the questions.
Right. So we just wanted to get a sense of whether you are planning to apply for GMF for funding. So please specify whether, if you are, whether it be for feasibility study, design study, a program evaluation study, or if you're thinking about applying under the standing offer, which will open around January 2021, or if you're undecided, you're not sure quite yet. So we'll just wait a few more moments for you to have a chance to share your answer. All right, so it looks like a number of you are interested in applying for either a feasibility study or a design study. So that's good to hear. 2% of you are interested in applying for a program evaluation study. So that's great too. And then some of you, so 3% of you will be waiting for the standing offer, and over half of you are still undecided. So we welcome you to reach out to us, and hopefully we'll be able to find out whether or not you're a good fit for the CEF funding program. In terms of upcoming resources that we'll be able to share on our website and with all of you, we have some informational fact sheets. And these are really quick bites that will provide key information. So we'll be looking at benefits of a home upgrade financing program, attributes of a successful program, how to plan a financing program, engaging delivery partners, and marketing to homeowners. We'll also have an online resource library that'll help you access other additional sources of information that can be helpful for you as you're planning out your community efficiency financing program. And we'll also be providing guidance on scope of work for these studies, and that'll come a little bit later on towards the end of the summer, early on in the fall. So in order to get started and you know, stay up to date on all that we offer, I encourage you to look into the following links. For program information, you can consult our website at fcm.ca/community efficiency financing. You can also subscribe to our weekly newsletter at fcm.ca/FCM Connect. And if not, you can always contact us by email at gmfinfo@fcm.ca, or else our phone number, which can also be found on our website. And hopefully that'll give us an opportunity to work together, and we'll be able to answer any questions you have. So on that note, I'll open up the floor to the question period. I see that we've received quite a few. We only have about 15 minutes remaining, so we'll see how many we can work through. But I encourage you to follow up with an email if we don't get to your question today. The first question that I'd like to address to Jim and Wren is the following from Lauren Clark. Says, I work for a nonprofit. Does CEF provide funding for nonprofit staff time required to implement these feasibility studies? Our local municipalities would not have the capacity to make something like this happen.
Hi, thank you for your question. Yes, definitely. So you may partner with a municipality, and of course, being a nonprofit and wanting to implement a PACE or on-bill financing program, I could help you with that partnership with the municipality, of course. And since you would then be the lead applicant, your staff costs would become eligible.
Great. Thanks for clarifying. Jim, I have another one right here. Would it be possible to apply for a combined feasibility study and design study?
So perhaps I should stop showing the screen at this point. Yes, so we had internal discussions about this, and obviously we're set up with different stages within your feasibility study and program design. You are in between the two. Chances are you probably have a feasibility study conducted or completed already, and perhaps we can go straight into program design. We would just have to review what documents you have in place currently and whether or not what we would deem the feasibility study or what you would present to us as the feasibility study would be robust enough to fulfill that prerequisite to then move into program design. Jasmine, do we have another question?
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Seems to happen to the best of us. The other question I'd like to put forth is there support for aggregation of retrofit projects across different municipalities to attract investors that have traditionally seen high transaction costs per home as a barrier?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and yes, absolutely. We encourage regional sort of delivery models that may be contemplated. So if there's a grouping of municipalities within a province or territory that all have sort of this interest in looking at a regional delivery model that is supported by the program. And I would encourage you to apply for one of our studies in order to sort of get into the details and have the necessary like stakeholder consultation sessions to understand or to get a better handle on what the roles and responsibilities are and how that model could come to life.
Thank you, Marco. So here's a question from Hillary Carlson. How do you recommend we accelerate capacity in EnerGuide audit firms when our province, in brackets Saskatchewan, is severely lacking capacity in this area?
Yeah, Hillary, that's a great question. One that we certainly acknowledge, again, per that slide that I had up earlier, that there is quite a bit of variation in terms of local capacity for EnerGuide and energy advisors. I think it's a bit outside of the scope of our funding offer in terms of our ability to correct that local market condition. But if you through your study, if let's say if you were to undertake a study, if there was like an alternative to a home energy assessment that made sense for your local context, given its limitations, we'd be happy to sort of to better understand what that situation is. So we're pretty flexible in working with local communities on their program design, given understanding that we've created this national program, but we're really encouraging sort of this bottom-up innovation to account for all of the sort of local nuance and context pieces that are in place. I would also mention that the grant. So we're providing pretty attractive grants of up to 50% of the loan amount. That any training related to energy advisors, building the capacity of the local service organizations and all work related to auditing of homes for energy efficiency, that those are all eligible costs under the program. So if you were successful with your funding, you could allocate funds within your community for those reasons.
Thank you, Marco. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in, and we're not going to get a chance to respond to them all. So I'll try to keep maybe I'll ask a few more, and we'll see how far we get. So let's go with this one. So we're looking to improve the energy efficiency of businesses and multi-unit residential buildings. Can we apply for a study if we already have a Clean BC rebate program in place?
Yeah, that's a good question. We would want to, so yes, you can apply if you're looking at, again, there always needs to be you always need to be studying a financing model within your community, and there needs to be a residential component to it. So if you wanted to better understand, how your local municipality might tie into the Better Homes BC program, and you also, so with a residential focus, but also while you're at it, look at what are the opportunities in the industrial, commercial, institutional sector, then though that would be in scope as far as our studies are concerned.
Okay. Here's another question. Is there a plan to expand this program to commercial buildings in the future?
Yeah, another great question, and I'm glad that was the follow-up question, because I wanted to add that while you can study, other building categories outside of single-family residential through our studies offer, when it comes to program capitalization, due to the terms that the federal government set for this program, it's very much focused on single-family existing housing stock. So we are unable to fund capital programs outside of low-rise residential.
Thank you, Michael.
And, you know, in the near future, there really isn't an opportunity to open that up to look at other housing types. I will mention that there is a future funding offer called Community Climate Action that's at the early stages of program design at the Green Municipal Fund, and it is looking at commercial pace. So be sure to monitor and sort of stay connected with us through FCM Connect to learn more about that offering.
We have time for one or two more questions. This one relates to Alberta specifically. With Energy Efficiency Alberta closing in September, are you able to give us an update on the status of the PACE program in the province? I understand we're running a pilot program in Edmonton, but the program was not available anywhere else yet.
So another good question. This is one that we're still, you know, trying to understand exactly what the sort of the fallout is from, you know, the dissolution of Energy Efficiency Alberta. It's, you know, as far as I understand, you know, PACE is still enabled in Alberta. It's just that Energy Efficiency Alberta's role as sort of the universal delivery agent across the province has ceased. I think we need to sort of maybe circle back with you just on a better, maybe a more fulsome answer on that, because we're still ourselves trying to understand. I do know that there are interests from a few municipalities to apply for our capital program, which is closing tomorrow, and that there will be applications coming forward. So that, you know, sort of instills in me some confidence that, you know, we can in fact capitalize local programs in Alberta.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I just wanted to let everyone know that they're in transition mode right now, and obviously who the delivery agent is, they're still scoping that out, and we'll know more within, I believe, November, December type time frame.
Thanks, Jim and Marco. Is there going to be an approved contractor list for feasibility and or design studies, or a specific guidebook on what needs to be included to qualify for the program?
Another great question, and we're very much working on this now behind the scenes at the Green Municipal Fund. I'm not sure if we're going to provide. We're still sort of having some internal deliberation around a contractor list for, you know, outside firms who could undertake these studies. We definitely will be providing some knowledge products in the form of guidelines around undertaking the 3 different types of studies, what their scopes, you know, things to consider in terms of study scope. So these, you know, as Jasmine mentioned, these products will be made available hopefully by early September. So stay tuned for a little more guidance. You'll also notice, though, in our guidebook, which will go live tomorrow, we do, I think, provide a pretty good understanding of you know, sort of what the expectations are and things to include in the different types of studies. So you'll have some off the bat, you'll have some pretty good guidance in terms of what expectation should be.
Thanks, Marco. Okay, one more. To promote market transformation, are you tracking savings data under a protocol like the Investor Confident Project?
Wow, another great question. We are very much interested in better understanding from the perspective of investors sort of what their data needs are, because as I had mentioned, like, we want to be able to transform this market, and understanding, you know, the necessary protocols or standards, let's say, for what would qualify as a deep home energy retrofit, for instance. We want to be able to better understand those things from the investor's standpoint. Currently, we're not prescribing any standards as far as that goes. But I would mention that, utilizing EnerGuide as the sort of the data tracking platform for energy as well as greenhouse gas emissions as well as building characteristic information, I think is a really important first step, so that we're able to, have a universal way of quantifying benefits and being able to share this information with the investment community, in an effort to build their confidence and be able to crowd in private capital.
Okay, Jim and Marco, if you're up for one last, this will really be it. Okay, so let's go with this one is relatively straightforward. If the study stream is open until October 31st, how will applicants be invited to submit a full application by October 30th?
So we will be evaluating these applications for studies on a continuous basis. So if you're quick out the gate, you can submit in a matter of weeks to us an application for a design study, and we'd be able to maybe I'll hand this off to Jim just to better explain maybe some of the timelines around approvals, but we would be able to approve your study prior to January 21st, assuming that you'd be able to move really quickly in doing that design study. But keeping in mind that on a go-forward basis, once we launch in January, you can submit an application for a capital program at any time, because we're doing a continuous intake, and sort of helping on a first come first serve basis.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I mean, of course, the intake window is open until the end of October, but that doesn't mean that you have to have it completed by January 2021. The purpose of continuous intake is that we can perhaps help finance your program well into maybe 2022, for instance. So if you take 2021 to do your program design, you'll still have an opportunity to apply to us for financing.
All right. Well, since we're almost out of time, I'll wrap things up. Apologies to everyone who we didn't get a chance to respond to, but we will do our best to follow up with you. So thank you, Marco and Jim, for clarifying what types of studies and programs can be funded in today's webinar, as well as which financing models are eligible and how to judge whether or not you're ready to apply. So thank you also to all the participants. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us. I hope we can continue the discussion and talk about your specific project sometime very soon. And just a reminder that the recording from today's webinar, including the audio and video, will be available within a few weeks on the FCM website. And we'd really appreciate it if you could take a few minutes at the very end to fill out the short survey. It'll appear on your screen once we end the webinar. And your feedback is really valuable to us. It will be useful when we plan our future webinars. So thanks again, and please do not hesitate to contact us if you have any questions whatsoever. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.